Have you ever had a miraculous encounter? I'll be talking to regular people, just like you and me, who have had experiences in life where they knew this cannot be explained by man. This can't be explained by science. This is a divine intervention from God. This is a miraculous encounter. Stay tuned. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Miraculous Encounters. This is Cheryl, and today I'll be speaking with Rebecca.
Hello everyone.
And Rebecca will be sharing with us her miraculous encounter. So Rebecca, thank you first of all for speaking with us today and sharing your experience. And I always like to start by asking my guests, what do you consider a miracle or a miraculous encounter?
Awesome. So for me, miracles come from God, first of all. So a miracle then is anything that I know I can't do on my own, and I know you can't help me do, that the answer to it only could have been divine. It only could have been something that God has ordained or predestined or made happen. So it's not by human efforts, but solely by God's efforts, and you know it outright that it was God who did it.
Awesome. Great definition. So everyone I've asked has used the same terminology. I've heard divine interventions. I've heard something that can't be explained by man, something that we can explain, right? So great. So now that we've heard that part, share with us your experience, your miraculous encounter.
So I will start off by saying I was the ultimate church girl, the ultimate do-gooder, goody two-shoes. I'll just call myself that. But so I basically thought I was just a good person. So I would be the first to tell you that I was the last person that I thought would ever develop a problem with alcohol or that would develop an addiction. But that's just what happened. So it started, well, not started, but I've had childhood issues. But I think the snowball came to just an explosion around my 25th year, where everything kind of just came together into a perfect storm where I had previously lost my father in the 5th grade, so that was devastating. My family, we suffered from poverty since coming to America, but everything kind of came to a boil when my brother was shot and murdered, and I had just started my first real job. I had just graduated from college, so everything seemed like it was working together, but it was compounding. And when my brother was shot, I got into a toxic relationship, started drinking more than, well, actually I wasn't even a drinker before this, but I started drinking and it became more than just socially. And it developed into something I didn't see coming and my family didn't see coming. And being a preacher's kid and growing up with no one in my immediate family having this issue, this was something unknown to me. So when I had it, I didn't even realize what was happening. So when everything developed from car accidents to broken relationships to heartache, just a lot of different events that I don't even care to expand on, but things that just I didn't expect that I would do, my family didn't expect that I would do, but they just kept happening, and we realized that there was a problem. But the worst part, I think, was that we realized that I love my family. And so I wanted to stop for them, but the love of my family wasn't enough to break this chain that was around my ankles. I love my job, the children that I was teaching, but the love of my career was not enough to stop this path that I was going down. So everything that I thought was enough in my life to make me stop what I was doing, it wasn't enough. The chemical abuse was just that profound. It was just that strong of a stronghold that I couldn't break it. My family couldn't break it. My job couldn't break it. No amount of money could break it. So I needed something to come outside of myself to break that addiction, to break that alcoholism. And the only person that did that was God. And so that's why I call that my biggest miracle. And I tell people that's the worst thing that ever happened to me, because it brought out so many different aspects of myself that I did not like, and I did not hurting other people as well. But when I discovered God in recovery, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. Because the church girl that I was, I realized I didn't really have the heart that God was seeking after. I learned in recovery who God really was. I learned how to love other people and to see the beauty in people, because we are flawed human beings, but we are also beautiful. T.D. Jakes called us the beauty of the beast, and I love that, because we got some awesome things going on within ourselves, but we also have some things that we need to deal with. So I was able to reconcile that with myself only because of the grace of God. So that was my miracle. But the best part is, though, I think I realized that some miracles are a process. So it's not just a one-time thing, it happens, but it's a continuation of what happens afterwards. So after I became sober, after I started my recovery process, the broken relationships in the past, that recovery process helped me to mend a lot of them, and I got to know those people so much stronger. My family relationships, especially with my mother, a woman that we've had our troubles, I will tell you, and growing up, it was not the best situation between us, but because of recovery, because of the grace of God and the miracle of sobriety, I was able to mend that relationship. When we're crazy family, but we have such a stronger relationship now than we've ever had. My family, we're stronger now than we've ever been before I even became an alcoholic. So that recovery process of just going and learning who I am through God is definitely my biggest miracle.
Wow. Wow, I think I speak for everyone listening when I say that is a profound, that is a touching, that's a powerful testimony. And there were so many nuggets in there, I'm trying to figure out where to start. The first thing is, I'm so glad that God broke that off of you, and that I was able to meet you, because you're such an amazing person. That had that thing taken you away, I would have never met you. So I'm so thankful. You know, look at me being selfish. Not for me, but for your family, for your students, for everyone. You know, and also, I mean, just the fact that, you know, you knew you couldn't do anything about it, and you knew so that it had to be something divine, something. It was such a stronghold, you said, right? And there was no breaking away. But you saw your life going downhill. And when I look at you, I'm like, wow, because I would never be able to tell. And that's another reason why I like having these conversations, because when we look at people, we can never tell what someone has been through, what someone is carrying. And, you know, a lot of us deal with so much stuff that we battle with on the inside because we feel like we're alone. So when someone looks at you and they're dealing with something similar, they would never think initially that, oh, she doesn't know where I'm coming from, but you actually do. And there's a lot of judgmental things that we go through in life, judging others or not thinking people can understand. But these kind of things, having these conversations, sharing your testimony, is allowing other people to say, you know what, they may be there, or maybe they went through it, and they're like, well, she's like me.
Exactly.
And, you know, God helped me, or God can help me too. You know, so I thank you for sharing that. That was very brave. So thank you. And I just want to ask a few questions.
Before you do, but I just love what you just said, though. When you look at me, you don't necessarily think you see the person that would be suffering from addiction. And that's one of the biggest things, too. Because God took that. Those ashes and turned it into something completely different.
Amen.
That you don't even see the results of the past consequences or the past issues that you have. But I also love the part about I don't look this way because of self. I hope that when people see me, they see what the grace of God can do. Yes, they see the power that God has, because it was not me. Like I will tell you all day long, I would have tried anything to get out of what I was in, but I didn't do it. And I love that you said that this allows other people to know that just because what you see on the outside looks good doesn't mean that we don't understand each other. I think if we just take the time to have that conversation, to walk in somebody else's shoes, you'll be surprised how more we have in common than how much we're different. But yes,
and we're so divided because of it, because we think we're alone, and we go into just, you know, solitude. People stay by themselves, and they're just afraid to come out because they think they're alone. But we're not alone.
We're not.
You know, there's always someone that can help you, someone that can encourage you if you give them a chance, and if you open up and realize you're not alone. So I appreciate that so much. So I do want to ask you, what was that moment that you said, this is a miraculous encounter. This is God. When was that moment? Can you describe what that felt like, or give us some talk about the situation? Was it when were you look at me, I'm getting all excited because I'm just so passionate about what you shared, and it's so amazing, and I just can't even get my words out. But tell me that moment when you knew this is God.
I think with a lot of things that we don't realize God's hand at work until after the fact. So it's always, well, it's not always in retrospect, but oftentimes it is in retrospect that you look back and like, God, you did that. That was nothing but you. And I think that's what it was for me. And it was a couple of moments. There was one moment where I really understood the true nature of who God is. Because I'm like I said, a church girl. So I went to the Christian Haitian church where we're very religious and so forth. Nothing against church or church folks, but it was just, I had to learn a different God than the one I know today. The God that I know today, I have a relationship with him, and that's what he was seeking. The God that I know today, he was seeking me way before I thought I was seeking him. He was searching for his love, which is me and all of us. And we're the ones who are running from him. And when I read a book by, I can't remember his name at the moment, but when I read that book and I realized that this God that I'm serving was chasing me, that regardless of what I had done in the past, regardless of where my addiction had taken me, how low my bottom had reached, he was chasing me. Who am I that he could chase me? I realized that I would give anything to have that kind of love and give it back in return to him. And the very first thing that I did when I realized how strong God's love was for me is I went and I gave a big hug to the person that, to be honest, I kind of hated the most in the world. And you'd be surprised to know that that was my mom at the time, because we had such a bad relationship. We did not connect. But when that happened, I just went into her room and gave her a hug. And that was part of the process of getting the miracle. But then in recovery, looking back, I realized that I have met so many people, so many new people in recovery that just opened my eyes from different backgrounds, from white, black. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, whatever gender, sexuality, it doesn't matter. We all were meeting in these rooms with a common purpose. And I was like, this is how the kingdom of God is supposed to be, where we're not judging each other. We're in the same boat, realizing we're fighting the same fight, realizing we have the same hurts, the same pains, the same strengths, and so forth. And we can share with each other without putting one another down. When I'm sitting in the AA rooms or in recovery rooms and I'm talking to these people, I'm like, I've never met you before, but I can connect with you on a human level. That's awesome. But also the relationships that I had previously that were mended because of the recovery process. People I thought I hated, but I really loved, because I realized I had so much in common with them. People who didn't like me, but through making amends or so forth, you can reconnect with them. I guess the biggest thing was my realization of people, that we are freaking awesome, because we were created and loved by an awesome God. So, yeah. I don't know if that made any sense to you.
What? That made too much sense. You just said so much there that was so, it just gave me chills just to hear you talk about how God's miracle, that encounter, how it just changed your life. And when you talk about your mom, you talk about your mom a lot, how that relationship mended, how God caused you to go back and fix relationships. And you talk about the AA room looking like the kingdom of heaven, people of all cultures, people of all ethnicities, different, everybody together, and all just looking for love, all just looking for, purpose. And no one was better. Everyone was agreeing. Everyone was unified, and no judgment, right? And it's crazy that you kept mentioning, I'm a church girl, but you felt that in an AA room with other alcoholics, people who needed Christ. And that is so profound, because that is when sometimes I feel like God really shows himself is when we're at our lows. When we're at our lowest, that is when you can really see God. That's why, when people don't want to reach low, I never understand that. Because I'm like, those people need Christ the most. Like, once you found him, we're supposed to go back. That's where we're supposed to meet them and show them God. And it's like God showed himself to you with those other people. And I can tell, I hear your passion when you're talking. I'm like, she's so passionate. I can tell that this experience, is something that just blew your mind away. Only God can do this. Only God can put those people together and bring, take us from where we are, save our lives, mend relationships. Only God can do that.
And I know you mentioned when you first started this second part about that I'm always mentioning my mother, so I just want to put a disclaimer out there.
I love
my mother. Through her, I have realized everybody has a story, and you honestly can't look on the outside. You honestly can't judge a person by just a few of the actions that they say or the words that come out. You kind of have to have a conversation, be able to put yourself in their shoes. When I learned certain parts about her story, I was like, oh my God, this woman is freaking awesome to have gone through all the things that she went through and still be able to raise 8 kids. But so I'm not harping on my mom. Like I said, God has worked a miracle in her life as well. But it's just how the situation was at the time. But she is the most hardworking woman I've ever met. Crazy, but hardworking.
She sounds like she played such a implemental, significant part in your miracle.
Exactly. God used both of us.
In that sense. And that's awesome, because sometimes he'll do that. He'll use people that we're close to, and he will, God is just amazing. He can do it. He can do it all. So let me ask you this. Obviously, this changed you. And that would have been my next question. How can you say that it changed you, this encounter with Christ? So how did it change Rebecca?
So I'm like, okay. Well, I think one of the reasons that I started drinking in the first place is because there was a lot going on. But a lot going on was not just on the outside. All of it was most of it was on the inside. Even as a child, I felt like I was always an outsider. I was always timid and shy. I didn't want to share my perspectives. I was the one who wanted to numb every feeling that I was feeling because it was just too much. I couldn't take it in. If something was happening, I just wanted to escape. Yeah. And I wanted to escape myself. I wanted to be somebody completely different. I didn't want to be Rebecca. I wanted to be Becky. No, but it turns out Becky was not who God wanted me to be. Right. So when I started drinking, the alcohol seemed to have taken away a few of my inhibitions. I was able to speak more. I was able to dance in public. Just random things. I was able to become somebody I thought I wanted to be. Little did I know the person that I'm trying to become today, the person that I am now, is so much more awesome than anything that I could have, that alcohol could have ever done for me. That alcohol started off as a friend, if I'm being honest, and it quickly turned into the biggest enemy that I could have ever had in my life. But that enemy, God used it to change me into the person He wanted me to become in the first place. So today, I get a lot more shut-ups than, they don't tell me to shut up, but I'm not as timid. I'm becoming the person that I thought the alcohol could have made me to be. I am completely awed by people. I still have my issues, trust me. My family will tell you that. But I'm working on those issues, and I'm okay with those issues. It's just that I know I'm in a growing process. I'm a work in progress. But I love me because I know God created this person. So if He created this person, He has a reason and a purpose. And that person, just like everybody that I've met, in AA, out of AA, in my family, we're all so freaking beautiful because we're almost all after the same thing, like you said. We're all after love. We're all after acceptance and all the things that we think make us different, and it doesn't. And we basically share the same story. Like I said, we're in the same fight. So.
Yeah. I agree, Rebecca. And you said God made us all, and He made no mistakes. And also, when you think about everyone, we all have the same battle. We're all fighting the same enemy. But the great thing about God is like He gave us all our own purpose. A lot of times, when you talk about you wanted to fit in, you wanted to be this other person, and there are things that you were battling, but now there's only one Rebecca. There's only one you. God has a specific lane just for you. No one else can live out the purpose He created for you the way you can. Exactly. They can try, but it won't be what He created for Rebecca. It will be an imitation. Exactly. So that's why we don't have to compete. That's why we can love each other, because we know God didn't make any mistakes when He made each and every single one of us. How He formed us and placed us in our mother's womb with purpose. No one can take that from you. And I'm so thankful that you see that, and you sit here confidently knowing that we're all growing. We're all, in process, but I can still hear the confidence. Even if sometimes we don't even see it. I see it. I hear it, and I see an amazing woman that has, had a journey. I did not know what Rebecca was going to share today. That's the beauty about this. When people come to talk, I let them share from the heart, and they don't have to tell me in advance. And the great thing about that is it's so authentic. And, I'm glad that God gave you that, that push, that nudge to say, I'm going to turn this around. Because He did it, but He pulled you to do it. You did it too. You get some credit. God gets the glory, but you give yourself some credit, because you could have stayed down. You had a choice. You made a choice to follow God.
Because I was given a directive. I'll just be honest. There were days when I was in the middle of that alcoholism, and I'm crying out to God, I will do anything you want me to do if you just take this away from me. And so I had promised. But
that was your choice.
Exactly.
That was you.
But I had promised them I would share my story. And I just wanted to say that. So every one of us has a story. You never know who you might affect by just sharing it.
Absolutely.
So I did take some of the opportunities that He gave, and I did make those choices. You're right, but I did have a directive that once I do get sober, and I am in this, that when He took it away, then my story has to be shared. So
absolutely, and I'm so glad you shared it, and keep sharing it. No, sorry, that's amazing. I'm just saying, you're amazing, because you were down. You were at a low point, and God met you there. And me just giving you some encouragement today to say, even when I'm speaking and other people are listening, that no matter how low you are, as long as you meet God there and know He's there, He'll pull you up. He'll pull you up
all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, don't say you're sorry. If anything, I'm sorry. This is your experience, and I'm so.
Oh no, I'm really glad that you're doing this. This is an awesome platform to use, especially for our females. We struggle with a lot, and so for you to be able to allow not us for us to share, but to listen to each other and to see the commonalities that we have, that's awesome. Yes, so thank you for it.
Absolutely. So I have another question for you.
Oh, I thought I was free.
Almost. Not yet. No. We're enjoying Rebecca, right? I could talk to you all night. No. I want to ask you this. What would you tell someone out there that is struggling with believing God is still God? He can't. I've never seen His miracles. I've never had an encounter. And I just don't know if He's real. What would you tell someone?
That's a tough one that we want to end with.
We'll end with this one.
How do I know that there is a God? What do I tell you if you don't believe that there is one? And I think I love the concept of miracles that you have, because for me, that was my miracle. But then whoever else you might speak to will have a different miracle. And I think that's the beauty of it. Me waking up in the morning is a miracle.
Yes.
Because there were days in my drinking where I didn't think that was going to happen. There were days where I wished it didn't happen. So for me to be alive after car accidents, after close to being ODing, that's just a miracle. Going to sleep at night when I had so many days of insomnia, of days without sleeping, is a miracle. And to be able to do that, for me to eat food, because there were some days when I would drink so much, there would be sores in my mouth. I couldn't swallow because that's all I've been doing is drinking. To swallow a piece of meat, that's a miracle. So it's just a matter of perspective. God is always there. We just have to see it in the right lens. And I know a lot of us have been church hurt, and a lot of us have been human hurt. And so the pain and bitterness or anger, frustrations keep us from seeing who God is. And we've been lied to be honest, about this God that I serve. The God that I serve has been there the whole time, leading me. He's been trying to pull me out the whole time. I self-sabotage all the time. I will get in my way all the time. I will keep it from happening by my own actions. But God is there. He was reaching out. He was throwing me lifeboats, and I didn't know that there were lifeboats because my perspective was wrong. I didn't appreciate the people in my life because my perspective of them was wrong. So I think it's not a matter of God not being there for us. God has always been there. God will always be there. But we have to open our eyes, or somebody needs to help us open our eyes to see him. He is right there calling our names. He knows our names. He knew us before we were even born. So he's there. We just have to have the right lens to see him with, the right lens to connect with him. Anybody who's asking if there is a God, the mere fact that Rebecca Jean-Pierre is alive today, after so many bouts with death, like literal, not even spiritual death, like literally I could have been dead so many times. Could have taken other people's lives. So for me to be sitting here, the person that I am today, is a miracle. And whatever they may be going through, I know it hurts and I know it's painful. I know you might be bitter, you might be angry, asking, what is God doing about this? He is there and he's working. I just need you guys to have a little faith and trust in him, because you're going to look back on this one day and be like, God, thank you. Even in the hardest moments, sometimes he uses those hardest moments to bring you to him. So if you are in a hard place, please reach out to him. He is waiting to counsel you. If you need help, find somebody who is in touch with God and help them to let them lead you to some place where you can connect with God. But God is there. We just have to open our eyes and see him.
He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. Rebecca, that was like, I'm listening to you talk, and I can literally, in the spirit, I can see lives being changed right now. I can see people putting the drink down.
I hope so.
I can see people putting the drugs down. I can feel it in my spirit that your story, and it may not even be just through this platform. I pray so. But like you said, you share that story. You continue to share your story. You know, you can go back to those places where you were down and meet some of those people and share your story, because you are going to change lives. God is going to change lives through you. You'll be the vessel that he will use to change people. Because when people look at you, they see a powerful, beautiful, strong black woman that, I mean, it looks like she's just, you know, they don't see that side of you. So that's your way of saying, hey, this is where I was, and look at me now. And people want that. They gravitate to that light that God has over you. I want some of that. How can I get that light? It's God. Like you said, you want, when people see you, you want them to see the God in you. You don't want them to see just Rebecca. And I honestly believe you when you say that. I believe you when you say that. I really feel that genuinely from you. And I've always known there's something about you. And it's so crazy. I'm glad even in this experience, I'm learning so much more about you, and I'm connecting with you. And I'm here for you. You know, you want to do something, Cheryl, I want to go up to this jailhouse or this school or this. When we going? We got our masks?
Like,
let's go.
Cheryl, I need $500.
Hey.
If you've experienced a miraculous encounter and you'd like to share your story, please send your name, contact information, and a brief description of your story to miraculousencounterspodcast@gmail.com. We'll look forward to hearing from you soon.